All right, well, thank you, Guru, and thanks for introducing the big puzzle. And hopefully we can, from an AT&T perspective, share with you some of the critical pieces that we believe are going to solve this puzzle. But really what I first want to do, as Guru mentioned, I chair the ONF board, and on behalf of the entire board, we would want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here with us this week. We think this is a really a great size and frankly venue here to get us all together, a format to talk about how we can take this to the next level. So really want to appreciate all of your participation and efforts behind this ONF mission. What I'm going to do now is just spend some time to walk through really a progress update at AT&T and everything that's sort of going on. And I'm going to highlight some interesting things and actually announce a few new things on this journey that we've been on. And as you know, in the mobile operator space, what's the big buzzword? What is it all about? It's all about 5G, right? And so this title here, The Open Route to 5G, is really quite appropriate. So at AT&T, we're on track to launch mobile standards-based 5G across 12 cities by the end of this year. And I keep reminding Igal Abez and his team that the end of the year is coming quite soon. We've got a few days left. But we're really exciting here. So you're going to see some really interesting things here very shortly across these cities. And then as we go into 2019, you're going to hear many other announcements and frankly more cities that we will be launching commercially. So we're very excited about that. And this is going to open up really a whole new generation of capabilities and services that we can unleash to the developer world as well. And we're really excited. And you saw in Guru's slides, this enormous opportunity that operators have because, frankly, if you look at their networks, it's basically a highly distributed cloud. And that's really what 5G is going to help enable, is to make this a reality. And then we want to see some great new service innovation occur with that. And I think you'll see many, many applications that we haven't even dreamed up yet that will happen. Now, as far as the network, just to let you know how fast and how explosive the growth has been on the network here. If you go back just 11 years ago at the birth of the modern smartphone era, our wireless data traffic has grown over 360,000%. It's pretty staggering. If you take a look at the data that we haul across our core every day, just in the last couple days I just checked, we haul 242 petabytes of data every day across our core. Okay? 53% of that traffic is video. We expect in the next 3 to 5 years that 53% will likely be upwards of 75 to 80% video. So the networks we're building are very video-centric, and we all know what's driving that. I mean, I think the latest, whatever report you want to believe or stat out there is I think the average American consumes about 5.9 hours a day of some form of digital media video content. So it's pretty staggering. And that's not slowing down anytime soon. So that 242, to put it in perspective, I'm told 1 petabyte is worth the entire content of the Library of Congress times 4. So that's a lot of data. And again, this is on a pretty good growth rate that we don't see slowing down anytime soon. So that's created this big challenge for us and for the industry. And it's simple. How do you keep up with all that demand and fuel that innovation while controlling costs? And we think and believe that open source software is a critical piece to that puzzle Guru described. So on our journey, our software-defined network journey, we stated back in 2014 that we were going to virtualize and SDN control 75% of our network by end of 2020. And right now, we're just about at 65% of getting to that goal there. So we've made some tremendous progress, and really hats off to a lot of teams, and frankly, a lot of you that have been helping us get there. Now, a lot of this focus, this SDN journey has been on the network core. And we figured that this whole open philosophy, we can extend beyond the core and push it all the way out to the edge. And we think that's really sort of the right approach to do this and the right steps so that we can be successful. And we also believe that white box hardware is another critical piece of this puzzle that we put together to make this all happen. And we think coupling white box hardware with open disaggregated software on top is also a key component here to make this all work, and also will be a key differentiator for us and how we will be able to accelerate 5G into our network and get it out to our customers. Now, because of its complexity and the hardware intensity, opening and virtualizing the access network is a real challenge. And as Guru mentioned, when you look at the cost profile of where we spend our CapEx and OpEx, it really goes out to the edge. The further you go out to the edge, the more and more cost it takes to go in. So we think there's big opportunities here where we can take these technologies, and especially in the radio access network, or the RAN, is very challenging. Today, there's frankly just a lot of technology and vendor lock-in that's going on there, and we see a great opportunity to break that apart here and really help open this up and allow us to go faster, but do it in a very controlled way too, as we build this out. And we're really not starting from scratch here too. So a lot of the principles and foundations that we've built into core, those frameworks extend out to the edge, extend out into the RAN. And we're going to take advantage of this so that we can do this in a very controlled and a very robust way. Now, in 2017, we announced some of our first field trials for white box switches. And back then we said we were exploring several applications across the network. And about 9 months ago, if you were at the Open Networking Summit in Los Angeles, I announced that we not only had expanded that trial for white box switches, but we were ready to move forward with white box routers for more than 60,000 of our cell site towers across our network. And just a couple months ago, back in October, we just released into the Open Compute project a detailed spec, a reference design for this white box cell site gateway router that we will be deploying into the network. So we're really excited about this. And today, I'm announcing our next step here, where we've officially begun a large-scale production test of these white box cell site gateway routers carrying live network traffic. And this is really exciting here. This is a first for us, and we believe in our community of operators, a first for the industry. And this is a huge accomplishment, and I really want to give some kudos out here to Chris Rice and his team for making this happen, because this is a really big deal. And what's more is the operating system, that software stack we're running on that box, these routers, is AT&T's own software from our Viata team. So I'm really proud of this team of what they've been able to do. And as you may know, we announced earlier this year that we're going to take that stack and put it into open source. And the name of that project is called Danos. Okay? So what we're trying to do here with the hardware designs we put out in the Open Compute project, with Danos coming here shortly, you will basically have the puzzle pieces here. Everyone can go and take and deploy this, whether you're a large-scale operator or a small scale, to take this and make this happen and be part of this community. So we think this is significant, and again, open source is a really critical component here. These cell site routers we're talking about also fully integrate into our ONF network automation platform. And then also, so if you're part of that community too, you can basically take advantage of a lot of the capabilities in the modules there to basically orchestrate and automate a lot of those capabilities. And then in addition, in the near future here, we're also going to be plugging into our Acumos, our AI platform that we announced about over a year ago. And that will bring AI machine learning capabilities that then can be taken advantage for the network. So you can see these are all these various puzzle pieces that we've been putting together that fit quite nicely. Now, next year, we'll begin to deploy these routers. We expect next year to have several thousand cell sites to be deployed with these boxes. And this is what's powering basically the 5G network that we're building right now. And our intent here is to make this ubiquitous across our network over the next few years. So this is a really big deal. So this isn't, a little science experiment. This isn't, a fancy little trial in the backyard here. This is the real deal. This is actually what's going out there. And this is also what we're hoping is sort of a wake-up call, to Guru's call to action here of, hey, this is really time to get both feet in the water, not just your toes, but both feet in the water here and start participating to be a part of that. Because, whether you're on the OEM side of the spectrum, this is going to happen with or without you. So we're hoping folks will embrace this and be a part of it, as opposed to not being a part of it and deterring away from it, because this is going to allow us to go much faster, and frankly, we'll become better customers for you as well. We also, I also mentioned these white box switches I mentioned, not just going in cell sites. We are also deploying these white box top of rack switches. We are now using those into our distributed core that we're now building out, what we call our network cloud, which will basically be powering 5G as that gets built out before. So you can see all these implementations are beginning to take root in all of our locations, big and small. And this is really the power here. And then, of course, orchestrating all of this above, we have our ONAP platform that we're pretty proud of, and we're seeing some really special, significant returns from that, just from the large ecosystem that has now evolved around that. And we're hoping we can do the similar thing here with these projects that we have here at ONF. And I'll talk a little bit more here shortly about some of the traction we're getting that's been really phenomenal from the ONF team here. In addition to those white boxes going into our central offices, we're also pushing them into some of our international sites here. In fact, we just did initial installations in Singapore, Toronto, and Amsterdam, and we are expanding to more than 70 other global locations, all, again, with these white box routers to support our internet service offerings and other types of services. And again, these accomplishments really have been based on this industry-wide transformation effort by all this sort of what we call the wired technology. And what we're expecting here to do is accelerate these efforts in ONF to do the same thing in the access space as well, because that's really where the big money is, the big opportunity. So with that, Guru mentioned one particular reference design, an exemplar platform called SEBA. This is the basically software SDN-enabled broadband access. And this open source solution here, we actually at AT&T have just deployed a trial here in 2 cities. We're actually covering 2 MDU units with this. It covers about a little over 100 customer, basically apartment units. This is all being served via a 10 gigabit PON access. And this is a really strategic trial that we're very proud of because it not only takes advantage of these open source software, but it's also deploying multiple different white boxes in a very distributed, and call it a compute-based cloud. And this is allowing us to learn a lot about how we can do broadband access, not just more cheaply, economically, but also do it in a way that gives us much more rich feature controls so we can do some really interesting things for our customers in the future here. The other big deal here is by getting this capability out on the edge here, we're now setting ourselves up to offer very low latency application capabilities. And so we think that that will open up the door here for the developer community to create, like I said, probably even haven't thought of what new use cases and applications that can take advantage of this infrastructure. And this edge cloud is strategically situated to support many other AT&T technologies. For example, our 5G O-RAN-based wireless access is also part of this, as well as a bunch of core functions that we think will be significant differentiators for the future. And this is a reference design that we helped create with the ONF community. But really, again, this is out there for all of you to take a look at and see what you can do and become part of it as well. So we're really excited to see if we can get some more takers to come in and take this, the SEBA initiative forward. I also want to commend ONF for leading the charge in this space and creating this forum of innovation to really flourish. And you heard earlier, Guru is announcing basically 2 other reference designs today related to the access and the edge. And we really want to get your feedback and input on how we can take those to the next level. So a lot going on here. So this is a really important week for us. And so just as we applied our core expertise to wireline access, we're applying our wireline access expertise to wireless access. And specifically, this is for the 5G radio access network. So you heard earlier, ONF's mobile cord project, M-Cord as we call it, has been working with X-RAN to accelerate and open and virtualize the RAN. You saw that big list of VNFs that Guru had on his slide there. And earlier this year, we announced that we are merging X-RAN and C-RAN together into a new organization that we just formed called the O-RAN Alliance. And we also released a white paper outlining an architecture for opening and virtualizing 5G. And we think this is really exciting. We've got the top largest operators on board around the world. So a lot of momentum's growing there. And ONF's work on the RAN, all that work Guru was talking about will be consistent with the O-RAN architecture. And we think that's very important here so we don't lead to fragmentation and we can be aligned as possible. So things here are moving very quickly here, and a lot of it is going to take a lot of effort and support and coordination. And again, I want to thank all of you for your support, for not just being here, but also helping us take this beyond. And with that, I'm going to, I'm not going to take questions right now, but I am on a panel later with Roz that I'd be happy to take your questions then. Just in the spirit of time here, we're running a little late. I'm going to hand it over here to Guru for our next keynote.